Hello, my beautiful friends. It's Amanda here, and today we're talking about the latest release from ColourPop. This video is a little bit delayed because my delivery of this PR package was delayed, so I wasn't able to film anything at all before launch. I didn't even have these before the collection was live, but I have all the information now. I know a few of these pieces are already sold out. I don't know if this collection will be coming to Ulta or not. They haven't said anything officially, at least not that I've seen, but this does seem like the type of thing that does eventually make its way to Ulta, so you may have a chance to grab some of the currently sold out pieces there if you didn't get to snag them from the initial launch. There are still quite a few pieces available on the ColourPop site, including my personal favorite picks from this collection. However, it looks like there are no discount codes or coupon codes that can be applied to any of the pieces in this collection. I sent an email over to my contact at ColourPop to ask them about this because it seems like some people said that they were able to use them. Some people said they weren't able to. I went to test it. It didn't work for me, so I'm not really sure what the deal is there. If I get any information in response back from officially from ColourPop, then I'll update a comment or something in the description box for you to let you know. I do have an affiliate code for ColourPop. It's just my first name, Amanda. Most of you probably know this by now, but unfortunately it looks like it doesn't work on this particular collection. However, if you make purchases through affiliate links, it won't give you a discount, but it's still a great way to support either this channel or some of your other favorite creators. I know we all really appreciate that, and it helps all of us to keep our channels running at no extra cost to you. So I wish I could give you a coupon code, but unfortunately I can't for this one. However, I can give you lots of close-ups, lots of swatches, and I do have quite a few comparisons for the palette as well. Let's start with this Gliterally Obsessed Body Glitter Gel. This is really cool because it glows in the dark. Just in regular lighting, it looks the same as all of their other Gliterally Obsessed body glitters. You do need to keep this little stopper on top to keep the gel from drying out. I do feel like this one is a little bit more liquidy than the other formulations. Maybe it's something to do with that glow-in-the-dark ingredient. Maybe not. Maybe it's just a fluke, but you can sort of see here that glow-in-the-dark property, even with so much sunlight coming into my studio filming room. But I did decide to take this into my closet and film a little clip. That way you can see how intensely glow-in-the-dark this really can be when it is completely dark. I also did some swatches in different lighting situations, and I have to say that the glow-in-the-dark property is not quite as noticeable when it's actually applied to the skin. The swatch that you see here in the no light swatch has a huge pile of this gel to be as visible as it is. Now, I think the glow-in-the-dark glitter gel is really cool. It's a cool idea. Just a reminder, those gels are meant for body and hair and not to be applied on the eyes. I'm not going to come to your house and tell you what to do with your makeup. I'm just giving you the warning because I care about your little eyeballs. I think this is a cool product. It's not something personally I would find useful, but I think it's a great addition to this collection, and I think it's really cool. Now let's switch gears over to my favorite part of this collection. These are 4 new Super Shock shadows. These are definitely the pieces that I am absolutely going to be reaching for again, interested in using in non-video looks. All 4 of these Super Shocks do have the Ultra Glitter finish, and they are individually priced at $9 a piece. Or you can grab all 4 of these in a bundle for $32, which is a $4 savings versus if you were to buy all 4 of these individually. That is my number one recommendation, and that is actually still available. Several of the pieces, like I mentioned earlier, are sold out. The palette's sold out. The glow in the dark glitter gel is sold out, but the Super Shocks are still there. I think these are really cool. I can see them doing great looks just by themselves. Obviously, these would be great paired with the palette or a number of other palettes. We're going to see some good palette comparisons towards the end of the video, but the Super Shock bundle is my number one top pick. Now we do have 4 lip products. There is 1 ultra glossy lip and 3 ultra matte lips. These are priced at $10 US a piece, and the ultra glossy lip is also sold out. So all 3 of the matte lips are still available, but the bundle is gone because the ultra glossy lip is sold out. The ultra glossy lip in this collection is another cool idea that I think makes sense in this collection. It's one of those color changing based on your pH or something, color changing lip colors, which is cool in theory, but at least for me, all of those end up just looking like a regular medium bright bubblegum pink type of color. I think it would have been more interesting to just go with a purple gloss. And honestly, I think they kind of dropped the ball on these lip colors. There's always this regular old neutral color, which I know that's what a lot of their customers wear. And I think that from a business standpoint, it makes sense to continue to make these really approachable lip colors. But I feel like this is another one where it would have been really cool to see something a little bit more weird, a little bit more spooky ooky. I would have loved to see a dark navy blue lip, a black lipstick, something that's just a little bit more offbeat. I do really like the inclusion of this deep, dark ox blood burgundy type of lip color, the one that's called Summoned Spirits. I do think that's the best lip color overall in this collection, and that's the closest to what I would envision. This is a collection I would love to do my own version, my own redesign, because I think they could have done even more cool stuff. The idea was there. I think the intention was there. It just didn't quite go far enough for me. But again, like I said, I understand why they have to have a mass appeal. But this could have been a fun one to go a little bit more kooky, spooky with. Just one gal's opinion. The last piece in the collection is the eyeshadow palette. This one is called Welcome Foolish Mortals, and it is a 15 pan palette. Very cool packaging on here. I wish that we had some of this really gothic, like scrolled gate type of imagery on the packaging of the Super Shocks and the lipsticks themselves. That scroll work would be a lot more interesting than just plain old put the Haunted Mansion logo on there. But again, it's just one gal's opinion. What do I know? Palette has a lot of good texture. I really like this very graphic design with the shifty little holographic details. This palette does not have a mirror inside, and it does have the smaller sized eyeshadow pans. There are 6 mattes, 2 matte sparkle shades there on the bottom row, 2 of their pearlescent glitters, which is just super fine pressed glitter, and then 5 shimmer shades. I feel sort of similarly to this as I did to the lip colors. I like the idea. I feel like the intention was there. I do love seeing these cooler toned colors. I think that the pops of color that they chose are really interesting. I just wish that it had gone a little bit further, a little bit weirder, a little bit spooky-ookier. I love that greenish blue duochrome shade on the bottom row, and I wish that we had leaned into some colorful mattes as well. I don't mind the inclusion of a lot of neutrals here, but I do think that it is a little bit one note, and I would have liked to see some colors brought into the matte shades as well. I'm not one to diss some cool toned neutrals. I mean, I loved their Troublemaker palette from last year, and that had a lot of gray and cooler tone neutral type shades. So I do think that this will be pretty. I think it'll wear well. I think I'll get a lot of looks from this palette that I honestly really enjoy. I was just hoping for a little bit more in terms of pushing the color story to a more out of the box place color story wise, but I haven't seen the film. Perhaps this color palette really makes sense within the context of the original inspiration. So, not terrible, just not my favorite. Now we're going to get into some palette comparisons. First up, a perennial comparison favorite for me, the It's a Mood palette. Definitely has some similarities, but overall is a lot warmer. And I have to say that performance-wise, the shadows in my It's a Mood palette are noticeably softer and more opaque and blendable. Also, same deal with my Aurora Struck palette. This was another one of my favorites from the year last year. And this really has a lot of good dupes. It's lacking that one bluish duochrome shade that I really like from the Haunted Mansion palette. But the rest of the shades, you can get a very, very similar color story. Definitely a lot of similar eye looks coming out of these two palettes. Now, I did initially think of this Control Alt Glam palette because it has that blue and purple metallic, and so I wanted to do a comparison. Definitely not that much overlap outside of that bright blue, but I have to say the Control Alt Glam palette is noticeably drier and just not as performance-wise hitting the marks as the Haunted Mansion palette. Here's a Tarte palette I have recently added to my collection, and again, the performance is just leaps and bounds better. Obviously, it's a more expensive palette, but this isn't really about comparing formulations and performance and dollars and cents. It's more of, do you need to buy this? Do you already have these colors in your collection elsewhere? That's more the goal of my comparisons. It is interesting to note when there's a big difference formula-wise, but I think that we should really expect that when it comes to these much more expensive, more high-end palettes. And if you have Huda's Mercury Retrograde and Rose Quartz, you pretty much already have these colors, again, in a much more high performing, in my opinion, formula. The Huda palettes do lean a little bit more pinky toned. They don't have as much of that true cold, icy gray that the Haunted Mansion palette has. But, you know, in general, you can definitely mix and match your palettes. If this is something that you initially felt drawn to, you may already have a lot of these colors floating around in your collection. And you know what? If you're just in it for the packaging and you love this movie or whatever reason, I'm not here to judge you for double buying. Obviously, you've seen from my comparisons, I have several of these colors over and over again, and that's okay too. Whatever works best for you is, this is a no judgment zone, all right? I would love to hear what you think about this collection. Did you pick anything up? Are you waiting to see if it drops at Ulta? I always love to hear what you think about things too, so make sure you leave all your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. And I love your face so very much. Okay, see you in the next one. Bye!